So for me, network is plumbing. And like plumbing, for the end user, it should be invisible, it should be efficient and always there, and it should be low cost. I think we're some way from that. So what they would like to do is to be able to expand elastically, scaling up and down, or out and in, depending on demand on their own data center. So they want to shift out to public clouds for those peak loads. And for that to happen in a way that is transparent to the end user using the applications and specified by the application designers. So the way we're planning to do this with Passage is to have an IDE, an integrated development environment, and the little circles at the top are all the components that allow you to do things, and the diamonds towards the bottom are the interfaces to the different cloud platforms. So what we do is characterize the platforms, we characterize the application, we characterize the data, we characterize the end user and their organization, and then try to optimize across all of those, including dealing with trust, security, and privacy, and of course dealing with performance, all within this platform. The workflow looks a bit like that. We handle both legacy applications, which are black box, and new applications, which are white box, and that allows us in a language called Cloud ML, in fact we're developing Cloud ML a little further to something called Camel, and that allows us to characterize these things and through intelligent reasoning be able to produce a series of potential deployments from which one is chosen to actually be deployed. A key aspect, and it was mentioned in an earlier talk, is semantics. Within Passage we have a metadata database. The metadata is describing the users, organizations, the data, the applications and the platforms, and it's using a formal syntax and declared semantics. So that allows us to have a picture through which we can virtualize the environment out there as seen by the end user. So the key point about Passage is that you define your application once and deploy it at the full spectrum of the clouds. The logo is thanks to one of my colleagues who proposed Passage with me and who is a great fan of Pink Floyd. The final thing I wanted to say is that our problem with networking is that it does not give at the moment very good cost performance. A study I did with some colleagues at the beginning of our work on the Cloud Expert Group indicated that in the last 20 years, the price performance of data storage had improved by 10 to the 18, CPU 10 to the 15, broadband 10 to the 4. Why is that, we ask? Well, it's pretty simple. Before 1980, people used ASP processing. They used external processors, but they went there with punch cards. Between 1980 and 2000, most hardware, CPUs, most storage was actually in-house and under control of the organization and not being used externally. Whereas through that period, communications were in the hands of initially government-owned and latterly private organizations, the telcos, providing the bandwidth. And that's the reason why we are so slow on bandwidth compared with the rest of the environment needed for clouds. So I'm delighted to see the move towards SDN and virtualization. It's catching up with the way the rest of the computer industry is working, and I believe it will allow us to provide an integrated environment over clouds, federating them, using them together over the next 5 to 10 years. Thank you.